I probably should turn that off. Shut up. There we go. Been a while since I made a since I'd done a YouTube video. It has been a while. What I want to do with this one is I just want to tell you something. It's been like 1 year and 2 months? So yeah, 1 year and 2 months since I fully got rid of Windows on my main computer. I have been Windows free. My computer has never felt faster. My freedoms never felt more expanded. It feels like I actually own my computer. Pros I want to say is that my computer runs faster, and I have a wide variety of file systems I can use to help optimize my computer. And also, at the same time, I don't have to deal with the bullshit of Microsoft. If I don't want AI on my computer, I don't have to include AI on my computer. If I don't want proprietary bullshit, I can exclude proprietary bullshit. It's just so much better. It's so much nicer. It's freeing. That's what this is about. I just want to share in raw ADHD brainness of like that whole year without Microsoft Windows. Like, I just want to specify that entirely. So, let me start this all the way at the back. So, it started around April of last year. What happened was I updated Windows, and then all of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, it installs Copilot. And then it reinstalls Edge. Without my consent. It didn't say, oh, we're going to install Edge. We're going to reinstall Edge. We're going to reinstall Copilot. Do you want to do this? No, it just straight up fucking did it. It just straight up fucking installed Copilot and Edge without my consent. I did not like that. I don't know anybody who liked that. I don't know about you, but it's my computer, not Microsoft's. They can't just randomly decide what to do with my computer. That's my choice, not theirs. Alright? It's my fucking computer. I get to do whatever the fuck I want with it. You fuck off, Microsoft. I don't want Edge. I don't want Copilot. Why the fuck are you installing it? So, on that day forward, I was just like, fuck this shit. Fuck this bullshit. I'm not dealing with it. I fired up my Arch Linux install that's just been sitting there on my computer. And I actually went ahead and was just like, I'm going to set up as much of it as I can. I installed VNyan through bottles. I installed XR Animator to assist VNyan because there were some issues with VNyan not picking up webcams and whatnot because of stuff. I also got... I still had JetBrains Writer, and luckily JetBrains Writer has a Linux build, so I just use that. Basically, I set up my desktop how I wanted, I installed all the programs I use, and yeah, there we go. So, I got everything set up, I then moved everything over, I had to reconfigure, reset OBS, and manually reset a lot of that shit up myself. But, at the end, it worked. I mean, I can, like, here's a clip of one of my first ever live streams on Linux. Yes, it's terrible, and I will shut up and just let it play for a moment. There we go. Okay. This is exciting for me. This is exciting for me. This is really exciting. I just noticed something. No drop frames. There's no drop frames thus far. Okay, I think that's enough time for it to play and show you how terrible that first stream was. But then compared to, like, my latest stream, I don't know why I'm gesturing over here. You can't see anything over here. But compare that to my latest stream, which sounds a lot better. And I'll give it that sometime too.
Right there, right there, right there. Oh, wow. Nice. Oh,
Yeah,
door opened. Hold on.
Get down! Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Turn around and stay still.
Oh, behind the door, he's got a gun.
Cover me.
I got you.
Okay, I think that's enough time. So, yeah. As you can see, it's improved. In fact, here's yet another view, just like, I want to say maybe like a week or two after my other stream, if I can find it. It's right here. Give that some time. Oh, from what I recall, we did recently get the barn. I'm gonna go over there real quick. Oh, fuck me. Do I have anything? I have Okay. That might be enough time. Anyways. So as you can see, it's better. Like, basically back to the same quality I had it before. Which I'll show you a piece of that too. Just so that way you can compare. They have brought me and a group of people out super far for some exobiology. Alright, that should be enough time, right? Yeah, I think that might be enough time. Anyways. Yeah, so you can see my stream quality got quickly back up. I've had nothing but great luck with it. And issues I've come across, I've figured out workarounds for it. Of course, the issues I have aren't going to be the same as issues you have, more than likely. For instance, right now I'm using the Big Screen Beyond 2E. Yes, I'm using a $1,000 headset, basically. But the thing I like about it is cabled. I know you can't see it, but I'm holding its cable right here, and it's actually quite a nice thin cable. But it also has eye tracking. Now, even if I didn't get the eye tracking version, I would still have to compile my own Linux kernel, because I like to use the Zen kernel, which adds its own patches. But on top of that, I need to add a AMD driver fix, and then I need to add another fix that adds the Big Screen Beyond 2E to the VR headset list. And then on top of that, because I'm using the eye tracking version, I needed to add another patch that adds eye tracking, that lets the Big Screen Beyond 2E send the eye data over to my computer. So I need to kernel patch and compile my own kernel. That's something you probably don't have to do, especially if you're on CachyOS, because I think Cachy just auto-compiles that in for you. And then on top of that, sometimes my VR setup just refuses to work. I'm going to turn down the music. Give me a moment. I can hear myself think a bit better. Anyways, so sometimes I have to reinitialize my VR setup. So what I have to do is I have to fire up Steam VR, which sometimes doesn't like to work, reconfigure everything in Steam VR, close it down, and then Envision will start working. Oh, and that's the other thing. Steam VR on Linux sucks ass. I hope when they release the Steam Frame, they fix it. But until then, it just sucks. It just sucks ass. Using Envision is going to be a lot better. But at the time, though, when I started, I was using the Index, which is natively supported in Linux, and just worked out of the box. I didn't have mouth tracking. I didn't have eye tracking. So I didn't really need to worry about those types of stuff. But that's another issue I've had when I, like, mid to late way through. But it works. Honestly, like, other than those two issues, I really haven't had much issues. Yeah, all throughout that time, I've had very little to no issues. All the games I want to play just run. I don't play any games with easy anti-cheat in it or that have anything that would prevent me to run it on Linux, which I'm glad. I refuse to play any games that have kernel level anti-cheat in it. So if it has EAC or BattleEye or any other kernel level anti-cheat in it, joined to Clack, by the way, I don't play it. And if you don't know me, you might be asking, well, what VR platform are you using then if you aren't going to use VR chat since they have easy anti-cheat? This is Resonite. That reminds me of one issue I actually had in, like, late October of last year. Was it late October? Or was it late September? No, I don't think it was late September. Was it late October? October. Was it late? When was it? Was it early August? It might have been early August. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But anyways, Resonite was doing the splitting, and I think it was last year because I strictly remember being like, I can't play Resonite. I'm on Linux, and I'm not switching to Windows. The splitting was in beta before it fully came out to everyone, but everyone, including me, was testing it, and we were finding bugs and reporting bugs and all that. And I was like, yeah, I can't run this on Linux. And so many people started conversing in that thread and whatnot. And then finally, Frooks and the Resonite team was able to fix that. And yeah, and then we could start, Linux users could start using Resonite. And they wanted to fix it before fully rolling out the splitting. Honestly, I haven't had really any issues at all running Linux. It's super nice. It's super effective. Like, it boots up really quick. Keep in mind, I did optimize the shit out of it. So, like, I don't use a bootloader. So, I was using Refined because Refined would let me switch between Windows and Linux. So I would use Refined, and because Microsoft wouldn't replace it during the whole update process. Oh my god, why am I so itchy all of a sudden? You know what? I'm just gonna leave this fucking in. I'm just gonna leave it in. Fuck it. I don't know why everything wants to hate me today. I'm just gonna leave it the fuck in. Why? Why am I suddenly so fucking itchy? Why am I so fucking itchy? Holy fuck! Why am I so itchy all of a sudden? Ah! Ah! Why am I itchy? Why am I so itchy? Why? Ah! Why am I so itchy? Why does this ear button want to come out? I really should figure out a way to replace it. Oh my god, I'm so fucking itchy. Why am I so fucking itchy? I really forgot what I was talking about. God damn it. God damn it. I forgot what I was talking about. The thing is I was using, at the time when I was dual booting between Windows and Linux, I was using Refined. Microsoft was only attacking Grub. Like, if Windows saw you had Grub installed during an update, it would override it. Now that I don't have Windows, and this is kind of nearing the tail end of my thing, nearing the tail end of the whole story is when I decided, you know what, I don't even need refine now that I think about it. So now I just use, I think it's called like Unified Kernel Image, UKI. I think that's what it is, UKI, Unified Kernel Image. In short, it turns the kernel into a EFI executable. So what that means is that you don't need a bootloader. The UEFI Axe has the bootloader. So the UEFI just executes the kernel image, and then Linux just takes it from there. That's plain and simple how it works. The UEFI does its post power on self-test and initializes all the hardware to a basic level, and then it goes like, okay, let's see, in my boot entry, first boot entry, that's the Linux, that's this file right here, and these are the arguments I need to pass to it, so I'm going to call this file, pass the arguments, and then let it do a thing. And so then the Linux kernel starts booting up. It's just like, I got it from here, and starts doing all of its stuff, initializing the hardware even further to can work with it, and yeah, then you have your desktop. So yeah. I will also say, fuck Microsoft, because their storage sense makes no sense. I thought it would just be a basic, stripe, like here and here, like 2 drives. I have 2 4-terabyte drives in my system. I striped them together so that way they act as a single 8-terabyte drive, and I loaded all my data on there. Problem is, I'm now switching to Linux, and I was just like, oh, well, I could probably figure this out. Like, it's a thing. And then I read it, and I'm like, oh. Microsoft is doing some bullshittery. Okay. And so, at that point, I came up with the elaborate thing of, I'll just load all of my data. I'll transfer all of my data on that drive to my NAS. And then I'll run a checksum to make sure all the files have transferred successfully. And I ran that checksum, all the files did. And so then at that point I was like, alright, cool. Now, I'm going to take all of those files, or I'm going to take those 2 drives and format them in a RAID 0 and using BetterFS. I did that, and then I transferred all of my files back to my computer off of my NAS. It took a long time. I think it took like 2 days because I had like 3-4 terabytes worth of data. So it took a long time to transfer it all back. But after I did, it was fine. It was good. It worked amazing. And the best part is that since it's using BetterFS, well, it's BetterFS. What can I say? Like, I can boot any Linux-based distro, and for as long as they compile the BetterFS driver, I can read it. Been having so much fun. It feels so freeing to be on Linux rather than Windows. It just feels so nice. Like, yeah. Would I suggest everyone do this? Yes, but also no. Let me explain. What I mean by yes is that I think everyone should try Linux. Like, give it a shot, especially if you're pissed off with Microsoft and what Microsoft is doing. Give Linux a try. Give it a shot. Because I bet you, if you go with something, and I am going to make a general recommendation, if you're a gamer, and you're tired of Microsoft's bullshit, and you don't really play any games that have kernel level anti-cheat, like, give CachyOS a shot. Give it a shot. If you're just use your computer for office stuff or multimedia, like for office related stuff and just like watching videos, try Fedora. Like, Fedora's more suited for like the office environment, if I'm being honest. If you're a gamer, go Kashi. If you're an office worker, go Fedora. Also go Fedora if you are a video editor, because, and this is going to be another thing, DaVinci Resolve is going to be the best video editor for Linux. And I will say that DaVinci Resolve is free. It is free. However, keep in mind that if you want hardware accelerated video encode and decode, and H.264 and H.265, you will need to pay. And also, DaVinci Resolve works best with NVIDIA. AMD, Intel, spotty. Gonna need OpenCL and a lot more complicated stuff. But if you have NVIDIA, it should work just out of the box for you. But it does also kind of mean like you will need to, if you've been using Premiere, you'll need to try a different video editor. It sucks, I know, but honestly, would you, like, you really should stop using Adobe at this point. Like, especially if you're a only editing your own videos and whatnot, like you aren't part of the industry, like just switch to DaVinci Resolve. Alright. Plus, from what I've heard, the industry is pretty evenly split between DaVinci and Adobe. God, the itching is back. The other reason I would say is if it's just a media center PC, you don't need Windows. That's way too heavy for a basic media center PC. Just use Linux for that. Linux is super lightweight. Like, I have OBS, Resonate, Firefox, Discord, Stoat, Fluxer. I also have a Matrix client I can't remember the name of, JetBrains Toolbox, Easy Effects, all running along with KDE Plasma as my desktop, and I'm only using about 23 gigs of RAM. If I open up BTOP with OBS recording, a whatever 2560 times 2 is by 1440, and Resonate rendering on my desktop and in VR with the big screen Beyond 2E, I'm only using like 46% of my VRAM, so that's about 9.2 gigabytes of VRAM for me, because I'm using a Radeon RX 7900 XT. My CPU, it's sitting at 4.3 gigahertz, and like, basically, I'm scanning over this, and it's like 80 degrees Celsius all over the board, like for all, not 80 degrees Celsius, yeah, 80 degrees Celsius across all of my cores. Some cores are hitting about like upper 50s, like 55, like above 55%, probably like 58. And I'm seeing some hit 100%, like, so my CPU is being utilized to the max. My GPU is being utilized to the max. It's drawing about 215 watts. My CPU is drawing about 120 watts. So, but yet, if I look at Resonate, it says it's rendering at about 50 frames a second. So like, this is an extreme workload, and my computer's, and Linux is just like, cool, I'll handle it just fine. Oh yeah, and I'm also running Envision with Babylonia. But like 22 gigabytes of RAM usage. Let me restate that. 22 gigabytes of RAM utilization. Fucking on Windows, on fucking Windows, I would have Discord, Steam. Also, that I'm running Steam on here too, obviously. But I would have Discord, Steam, JetBrains Toolbox, Firefox, OBS, or not even OBS running. I could just have Firefox, Discord, I would have Voice Meter. What else would I have running? JetBrains Toolbox, Steam. Honestly, I would just have like those. And all of a sudden, like, hey, guess what? We are eating about 34 to 40 gigs of RAM. And I'm like, Windows, what the fuck are you doing? Why? I just logged in. I'm sitting on my desktop. Why is 40 gigs of RAM being used? Why? And then also, I've never had this much stability ever. That's another quote I would say of Linux. I've never had Linux or my computer be this stable. Like, I will tell people this. I was using Windows to mod Satisfactory. That's the only time I had to fire up Windows, besides also calibrating eye tracking. But I had to fire up Windows to do, to mod Satisfactory to put my avatar and my friend Gray's avatar into the game. I tried booting it up. It BSOD 10 times in a span of 30 minutes. I'm not joking. It BSOD 10 fucking times in a row. It was like boot, BSOD, boot, BSOD, boot, BSOD, boot, BSOD. After the 10th BSOD, it went into recovery mode, and I said continue to Windows, and it went to Windows. Ah! And then people said like, oh, it sounds like a hardware issue. Then how come Linux never kernel panicked? It's not a hardware issue. I know, because Linux isn't having any issues. If Linux was having any issues, it would be kernel panicking. Like, you can't blame it on my hardware if it's working under Linux just perfectly fine, but then Windows, it freaks the fuck out. And honestly, I tell people, if you want to know what's wrong with your hardware, like your computer boots, but it's acting funky, the best way to figure out what the fuck is wrong with it, it's to boot Linux. I'm not joking. And this is what I used to do when I worked at Micro Center. What I would do is if like a customer's having issues with their computer, one of the things I would do after running like our usual diagnostic stuff, and like sometimes something would happen, like it would crash during the middle of it, and I saw it was like IRQ not less than or equal to, or page fault in non-page area. The next thing I would do is I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna fire up Linux. I'd plug it in, and especially if it's like an Intel CPU during that time, because it was during the 13th series fuckery, I would plug it in, and then all of a sudden I would see this whole, like, it would fail to boot, and it would keep printing out this whole thing of like, CPU number watchdog failed. And it would just keep saying that over and over and over and over. CPU watchdog failed, CPU watchdog failed, CPU watchdog failed. And I would be like, there we go. That's the problem. Right fucking there. Right there. There's the CPU. Because as soon as we slapped in a new bitch-ass CPU, that error went away, and the customer's issue was fixed, and I would be like, there we go. Power of Linux, baby. The hardware works fine under Linux, but it doesn't work fine under Windows. It's clearly an issue with Windows, people, not Linux. But I digress. That's another pro of Linux. It's very fucking stable. I've only had kernel panic on me twice, but you also got to keep in mind, I am messing with the kernel. I am patching the kernel. That's the only reason it kernel panicked, and I know this specifically because because in both of those instances of it kernel panicking, it always referred back to the AMD GPU driver. It just worked. It, like, as Vic said, and maybe I can find it, it just works. Let me bring down your expectations of Linux. Like, 99% 99% of the time, it's just gonna work for you. But there's gonna be that 1% of times where, or I would say there's gonna be like a 0.7% of the time where you're gonna need to tinker with some stuff. It's not gonna be an exact one-for-one drop-in replacement with Windows, so you have to look out for that. But there's also like a 0.3% where Linux is gonna be absolute hell for your computer. Like, notably laptops are going to be the absolute fucking worst when it comes to Linux support. They're going to be the absolute worst. Like, you'll have to look and see if the laptop's going to support Linux well. Affinity Photo, you can get it to work, but it's going to be buggy. GIMP, let's be honest, it's not a replacement for, like, Photoshop. Let's be real, not a Photoshop replacement. Yeah, other than that, you're good. The reasons you shouldn't really use Linux, though, the biggest one is going to be compatibility. A good chunk of games and a good chunk of programs will work under Linux, but there's some that aren't. Namely, games that use something like Easy Anti-Cheat, or BattleEye, or any other clack, kernel-level anti-cheat, who embed themselves into the kernel, which is why they're called kernel-level. They dig themselves into the kernel, and they're there. They sit outside of your user space, which is your programs, and it monitors the entire system. I don't like that. I really don't like that. So, but if you play a game that uses a kernel-level anti-cheat, go to ProtonDB and see if it will work. I've been told that VRChat works on Linux, even though it uses EAC. But I'm still not going to touch VRChat. Fuck VRChat. Yeah, if you play games with kernel-level anti-cheat, or you are forced by your company to use Windows, that's another thing. Like, I've honestly been on Linux for about a year and 2 months now, and it's been smooth sailing. And I know some non-techie people who switched to Linux and are enjoying it. My dad is one of them. And then I know a couple people here in Resonate who have done that. Just works. Like, Linux, for the most part, it just works. But I think that will wrap this up. I hope to see you beans some other time. If you're curious about this avatar, this is The Experiment by RyuV. They're a good bean. Go give that avatar a check. I live stream over on Twitch. And yeah. I hope to see you beans the next time I make a video. When will that be? I don't know. Whenever I feel like it. Bye-bye.